What is up, my ninjas? Welcome to Off Our Brains, episode 28. Before I get into the actual, or we get into the actual podcast, I wanted to give you guys a little warning. For some reason, we were using Skype this time, and maybe it was a bad connection or something, but the sound just kept popping in and out. Like it'd be, leveled, and then it would just pop and get loud. You know what I mean? And then it would, kind of go back down, and then it would go back up. I don't understand what the issue was. It's not something that typically happens in these videos, but it happened in this one. So, kind of, I guess, put your volume at a reasonable, level so that when the highs and lows happen, it doesn't just like scare you awake or destroy your speakers or something. It shouldn't be that bad because I leveled off. I tried to normalize the sound so that it wouldn't be so bad, but just a warning. But thanks for tuning in, and here we go. Okie dokie. So what is up, my ninjas? I am Strydent, and I'm here with my homeboy, Agent O.
What we do?
And we decided to do something positive for a change because the Transformers one almost broke me. So I figured we got to do something, happier. So I figured today we're going to talk about the lines that got away from us that we really wanted to collect. And maybe, we're still looking into trying to get into them. It's just that right now, since the prices may be really high because they're older lines, we might have to keep on searching until we find that perfect price. So what's new with you before we start?
All right, I guess the first thing on my list
What's new?
is...
What's new with
what?
you? What's new with
Oh,
you?
what's new? Oh, my bad. And I'm tired, man.
I figured.
I'm fucking tired.
I figured.
Nothing, just working and trying to get some shit ready to upload on YouTube, basically.
Yeah. It is a constant struggle.
Trying to buy new laptops so I can start doing video games.
Yeah. I'm wrestling with that, but I think if I do video game stuff, it's going to be old. Because, not super old. I'm not going to jump on the retro bandwagon, but I mean, PS2 era. I'm just going to go into, old fighting games and old action games. Especially co-op.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of the games I wanted to cover is Rise to Honor, because nobody really ever... I never really hear anybody talk about that game, and I remember people not liking the control scheme.
Yeah.
But
it was a good game.
Once you got used to it, it was pretty intuitive. I don't know, I liked it.
Yeah. It would have been nice if they had an option for you to flip the attack button to being a button and letting you direct where he hits. As opposed to you know what I mean? Flip it to traditional, where you direct.
I mean,
how
the free flow system in Arkham.
Yeah. That, where you press the direction and then press attack, as opposed to you press the direction and it also is the attack button. Because I think that's what threw people off. Plus, it beats the shit out of your controller. Just think about, for every one time that you're pressing in that direction, you gotta triple, quadruple, keep on going in that direction. So you've just amplified how many times you tap right, or how many times you tap left, or how many times in just one playthrough. So it would have made more sense to do it the other way around, because that's how controllers are designed. The thumb buttons or face buttons are pressure sensitive, and they kind of are supposed to take that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd be down for that. I like that.
Yeah, I almost feel like that control scheme was a prototype for the Arkham free flow system, because it is basically what you said. It's just they separated the two. So the D button, the D pad or the analog is your direction, and the buttons you press are just the attack.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that'd be cool. I want to do a lot of Contra coverage because there's been so many Contra games, but so many of them are so fucking hard. So it'd be cool to play them on an emulator and be like, when I was a kid, this was impossible. Today, I'm playing via cheat codes, and I'm going to get straight through it and show you exactly what it was that I was doing wrong back in those days. because it was really hard to figure out limitations. I mean, you had to really play billions of times, hundreds of times, thousands of times in order to get the patterns down. And you always got to die a couple times too, you know, so hundreds of times, you know, whatever, in order to figure out what the pattern is. It's not like now where the games are designed to allow your experience in some ways to be a lot easier. I'm talking like fucking, it doesn't get much more unforgiving than the way Contra was. I mean, shit, the most forgiving thing in Contra was that you actually had lives and 3 continues. That was it. It was like, yeah, and you're lucky to get that. So, I don't know. But, yeah, I'm not doing shit. I'm just looking for stuff. I managed to get the Storm Collectibles Bison, the special edition one with the... I can't believe that that's a special thing. He's got crossed arms. Like, this feels stupid. It's like
it's like shit you would have gotten in a Figuarts.
Well, I've got my Figuarts Piccolo comes with crossed arms, and I bought him for $40, and it's probably 1,000% more posable than the Storm Collectibles figure. It's 1,000% on model, and the build quality is, you know, it's proven, it's sound, you know. Storm Collectibles.
Yeah, you can remove the cape and all that shit, man.
Yeah, it's a dope figure. And you know me, I'm not a Dragon Ball fan anymore. I used to be when I was a kid. I quickly grew out of that shit. And then here's, you know, Storm Collectibles comes out of nowhere, and they're charging like $80 out the box. And it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, how do you just, who are you? Like, you got to earn that shit. You can't just, I personally, you can't just come in and do that, you know? And it's like, the style they're representing doesn't necessarily look good on all the characters. You know, like that big, bubbly, overly muscular, roided up, giant hands, giant feet. Like, it doesn't even look good for everybody. I mean, like, if you're new to Street Fighter, then that's probably what Street Fighter is to you. But if you're older than, like, 16 or 18 or something like that, and you've seen Street Fighter over its, you know, 30-year history, then you know that that's not even remotely the best look. And this isn't like some subjective thing. This is like, objectively speaking, they don't even look like people anymore. They're like giant slabs of anatomy. I mean, like, I was on ArtStation, and there were people who were posting images of their mods to all the characters, and they're always making the girls naked, but then when you see them naked, then it highlights everything that's wrong with the anatomy of these characters, you know? The girls have these tiny bodies, but then they have giant arms, giant legs, somewhat giant head, and then giant hands and feet. I'm like, that's not feminine. It's not even sexy. It's just, it's fucking gross. Like, she puts her hands on you, you're done. You're done. Like, come on. Like, you want to be manhandled by that? Like, I'm sorry, no.
And I read that they said that they made the hands and feet bigger in order to make it easier for people to see the moves that they're doing. But I'm like, but other fighting games didn't do that, and it still seems like you can still tell what they're doing.
Yeah, when they were
so it just sounds like BS to me.
It is BS. When they were drawing the shit by hand, they didn't have to make the hands extra large and the feet extra large. I mean, feet were big, especially on Ryu, because that's one of the things that, it's actually one of the areas that I criticized the Figuarts Ryu for. But it's not 100% an issue, because there's still art, like official artwork from Capcom, in which he had kind of regular proportioned feet. It wasn't until Alpha when he had big, thick feet, you know? Yeah, they didn't do that when they were drawing the shit by hand, which you would expect them to take shortcuts because it's all done by hand. And then now you have all this tech. You know what I mean? All these people that know all these different programming languages and shortcuts and blah, blah, blah to make shit better, and you're going to give us some bullshit like that. And what's worse is that people believe it. So, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know about them, but the Bison figure looks on point because he's the only person who, I think, him and Zangief, who their anatomy already looked like this. Like, since Alpha, actually since the 90s animated film, they're the two who this, like, style kind of benefited. Because they're big, muscular-ass dudes, you know? But, yeah, I dig that figure a lot. So that review is coming. He should be here next week. probably Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, that's all that's going on with me. And then working on reviews. I'm trying so hard. I was gonna stop myself and not do the SH Figure Arts Ryu and Chun-Li review, but I couldn't stop myself because a lot of the reviews on YouTube are just not that great. There's a couple good ones, but most of them are so topical and so biased that you're not learning anything new, you know, and it doesn't really show the love if you love those characters and such. So I'm going to do it. I got like a ridiculous comparison section. It's like I don't have like Play Arts Kai and stuff like that because you know me, I hate the way those figures look. They also have jacked up anatomy for the most part, but the ones that are relevant I have. So I'm gonna do a whole lot of comparisons there. But anyway, so we're gonna jump into talking about figure lines and figures that we missed out on back in the day that we still are hoping to get our hands on. I'll let you start since you're tired. I don't want you to fall asleep while I'm talking.
Well, some of this stuff I kind of don't have any expectation to get because the prices are so out of my like range of feeling comfortable of actually purchasing them and making the justification.
Yeah.
But it's part of it is because of when they came out as well. This is like more or less like my bucket list of figures that I would like to get if I ever come across a disposable income.
Yeah, exactly.
But the first one is the Max Factory. Actually, I have two of the Max Factory Guyver figures. I have 1 and 3. I always wanted to pick up 2 and the giant Guyver 1 and the giant Guyver 3. But by when I first got those figures, which was like well over 10 years ago, they were already in like the $150 range. Like the ones that I got, the ones that I was still searching for were already like 200 plus, and I just was not going to do it back then. And the Guyver 1 and the Guyver 3 that I have now are last time I looked, they were around $300, but the prices on eBay always fluctuate and whatnot. So I don't know what they are now, but that was something I missed out on and that I wished I had gotten the jump on back when I first started actually collecting figures.
Yeah.
I've always just been a big fan of Guyver, so I'm happy now that Figma's doing them. So at least I can get, maybe they'll delve further into the line and do more characters and maybe some of the enemies. I don't know, but if you missed out on that and you're a fan of the series or you're a fan of, I'm more of a fan of the design than I am of the story. So,
I was about to say,
that's yeah. I mean, it suffers from like Dragon Ball. It just keeps going, and the next thread is always, something bigger. I did see one cool thing though. They had this it looked like this giant spider, but then the spider separated into smaller people, and like smaller zoonoids, and that was actually kind of cool.
Sounds fucking gross.
Yeah.
That sounds terribly gross.
But I mean, a lot of that show, some of that shit was gross.
It was.
That show.
Yeah, that was kind of the point of the show. It was like, it's like kind of the lightweight horror tokusatsu. So yeah. Ugh, yeah, I can't stand it. After watching the one with Enzyme, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then like Show spent so much of his time dying. I'm like, God, dude, like you died like 2 or 3 times in the series. Like, what in the hell? Like, stop dying and just kill shit. That's the whole point. I don't know. That's why I couldn't get into it. But the figures look dope. I'm not gonna lie, they do look dope. You want to do one and then I do one, and then we just keep going that way. Okay, so one of mine is the Tamashi Soul Spec Technoman and Pegasus figure. I almost got it a couple months ago because someone had it, and the price, I had been watching it for like, I don't know, 2-3 years, and the price dropped, and just when it hit like $100, someone snatched it up I was about to buy it too. Like someone snatched it right up. It was in my cart and everything. And
Is that the one where Tekka Man fits inside Pegasus?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yep, that's it. You still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
I wanted that one too. I ended up just settling for the Figmas, which are fine too.
yeah, the Figmas are cool, but I'm gonna get that Soul Spec version. I've been like eyeing that shit for years because I didn't know it existed, and then I came across it one day and I was just like, yes, I have to get this. So at some point I'll be getting that, and maybe I'll get the Soul Tekka armors. But I dig those. I dig it a lot. Just the fact that it's number one, it's not a model kit, so I don't have to put it all together myself. Number two, I mean, it kind of sucks that he's kind of small. I forgot what the scale is, but it's on the small side. But I don't care. Like one of the first animes I ever saw was the original Tekka Man, the Space Knight, and I kind of want the Sentinel version of that too from Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Yeah,
that figure's beautiful, and that talk about an obscure ass character. Like I don't know, that's one of them. But I've always liked Tekka Man since back in those days. I almost settled for buying the Tekka Man and Pegasus, the old school one that comes with the Barry Gallagher figure that fits in the center, and then it has the switch out Tekka Man figure as well. But then I was just like, I can't. When I'm looking at Pegasus, the old school Pegasus, I'm just like, ugh. he looks so cheesy. I was like, I can't do it, man. I found that one for fairly cheap, so yeah, it'll be a while. But I will be getting that.
Yeah, I mean the newer version of Pegasus looks so much better.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, you're up.
Oh yeah, but Figuarts did not Figuarts, but it was I forgot what maybe not Figuarts Zero. It's another line in the Figuarts line, but they did
what, Soul of Chokogen?
No, it's not even them. It's not even that era either. I have to look it up because it's on Nippon. Because they have like one or two of the figures from the line. Because they did Tekka Man Blade in that his final form. They did a figure of that. The one where like at the end of the series where he ended up basically brain dead because he stayed in that form too long. They did a figure of that. They did a figure of the other Tekka Man or whatever, the chick, and then the other two or three guys.
Oh, you're talking about the
Tekka Man Rapier and
yeah, you're talking about the second version. It's called it's by what is the company called? It's called Recast. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's like I think it's a resin kit though. I don't think it's a figure. You're talking about the one that had like the pieces, like so he had the big shoulder pads that stick up, but then he also had like these wing pieces that stick down. Like you could see him if he moved his arms out laterally. You can kind of see those wing pieces hanging down, and his lance was like black and red, and his head was more round. I'm looking at one right now, and they also did the evil one. Yeah, Armor Plus was another version they did too. Cause
that's it. Yeah, that's Armor Plus.
That's what the Tekka Man Blade. It's the design that the Tekka Man that I'm talking about goes to. But yeah, God, that figure goes for like $300.
Yeah, no, I had found it on that other spot that we shall not name.
Yeah, I know, right?
For a decent price, and I didn't jump on it when I had the chance, and I kind of regret it now, but
it'll come around.
It is what it is.
It'll come around again.
Yeah. They also did like Ronin. They did really nice Ronin Warrior figures.
I've seen those. Yeah, those look pretty cool. And I was never a big fan of them. I remember watching it as a kid, but they looked good. Okay, I'm gonna jump on this one because. Oh wait, or were you gonna? You had another one. You had something else.
Yeah, this will, I think, no matter what, like in all the other figures that I mentioned in this video, this will always be like my white whale. And that
I know what it is. It's
the one that just
one
got away.
Fucking Karos.
The Max, yeah, man, that Max Factory Karos figure, man. I even remember the day because I was in your apartment and I was on Hobby Link Japan.
Yeah.
And the figure was available then, and I was like, oh, I could buy it right now if I put it on my credit card. But I was like, I don't want to do that. I'll have another bill. I'll just wait till Friday and I get paid, and I can just buy it then. And then I went on there that Friday, and that shit was ghost.
Yep.
Like, just gone, never to be seen again. And that was literally the last place online that had that figure in stock. And ever since then, I've just never been able to find it, unless it's on Evil Bay.
Yeah, we found it. It's just the prices are just stupid. It's like $1,000. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, do you just know that this figure was limited, and you're trying to take advantage of people? $1,000. Like,
and it was like that from the jump, really.
I know, like literally, like weeks afterwards, it was like, $800. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody knew about this anime. Like, I remember when I got the anime, we didn't know what it was because I got the poster from a convention, but nobody knew about it, and then it showed up at Target. And then after I got it, we didn't see it ever again. Then we had to wait to get the second half.
Yeah.
And then when that came out, no one else had it. So it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't know.
I mean, Japan knew, apparently, because they sucked that shit up quick.
Yes, they did. But, I mean, Tatsunoko Productions is celebrated over there. I mean, people here don't realize it, but they've done a lot. I mean, Battle of the Planets or G-Force, that's them. Hurricane Polymar, that's
Gotcha,
them.
Man.
I know, right? Yeah, a.k.a. Gotcha Man. Polymar, that's them. Fucking Kashan, that's them too.
Yeah.
Or Kashern, for those of you who saw that. So, yeah, they've been around for a grip. It just, it's like the anime community knows who they are. Everybody else has no fucking clue. But the figure is so damn pretty. It doesn't have the transformation gimmick that he has in the show, but everything else, the two blades, it's like what he showed up as in the first film.
Yeah. I remember seeing when they had the figure like display when they were advertising or like previewing it. I remember seeing like they had mock-ups of the plane mode that he turns into.
Yeah.
And that shit never came out.
Nope. Which is weird. You think it's like they're sitting on it because they know that this thing costs, it goes for boku bucks. And like they don't plan on changing it. You know what I mean? They don't plan on.
I know, and I wish they would.
Yeah,
I wish they would put it back out because they re-released some figures. Like they re-released the first Major Kusanagi, which I was really really pissed because I had just bought one and I kind of paid. I paid like $70 for it, and then they re-released it like right after I get it. They announced it, and I was like, "Oh, come on, man! I just bought this thing." I was so angry because I didn't think they were going to do that.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
Like I could save money.
Yeah, I know.
Could put that towards another toy.
Who does that? What? That's like blasphemy to figure collectors. They'll save money and get more stuff. Like who does that? Who wants to do that? God, sometimes
you have to buy it or else it's going to go away. You have to buy it because you have to buy two of them because that's the cost it takes to make up for how much they used to make the figure in the first place.
I know, right? Like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. What was I gonna say? I guess for mine, the next one is the Kyoto Trigun figures. I dug those, and I had Vash and I had Wolfwood, but I really wanted Monev the Gale. And what sucked was, I had a big stupid issue with my mom when I had just me and my wife had been married for a minute, and but we hadn't had Little Strydent yet, and we went home, and there was all this drama, and I was trying to gather up shit from my old room, and for some reason she wouldn't let me take that stuff. So I just left it. I was like, fuck it, I'll just find this shit again on eBay. Man, the amount of stuff I realized that I actually had in this bin that I was bringing with me, or trying to bring with me, is fucking like mind-numbing. Because like I said, I had Wolfwood, I had both versions. I had two versions of Vash. I had the McFarlane one, which, I mean, it's it's just a statue pretty much. But I also had the the Kyoto version of Vash, and that's amongst a whole bunch of other shit, other DX like robots and stuff, and it was ridiculous. But yeah, this figure I missed out on. Or this Mona of the Gale I missed out on, and he's huge, detail every damn where. He's posable, and he's got the dynamic, like, almost Revoltech style, sashaying and shantaing and shit. And there was another guy called Gazelle the Peacemaker. I wanted that figure too. He has a big-ass pistol, like a revolver for a weapon. And it's just dope, man. And the way they stand.
Calling it big is an understatement.
Yeah, it's ignorant. Like, it's super ignorant. But, like, once you see him connected to it, it looks really cool. I mean, their anatomy is kind of wonky, but that's how it was in the series. They have tiny heads and these giant bodies and, like, super long legs and stuff. But it was a cool design, man. Really cool design. Same thing with Wolfwood. I still have Wolfwood's weaponry, but I don't have the figure because that was at my mom's place. And I think they did one of Meryl. That was her name, Meryl Strife. Yeah. They did a figure of her. She had all the little derringers under her cape, and the luggage. She had the luggage that had weapons in there too. They didn't do Millie, which is the other chick. I think she's the one that used shotguns all the time.
So she had the giant minigun.
Oh, you're right.
That she'd pull out from underneath her trench coat.
Yeah, I wanted.
Because they always used to joke, like, how could she be carrying all that shit on her?
Yeah, because she's so small in comparison. Yeah, I missed out on them. Well, I had them, lost them, and then it's been a long time. But the actual Trigun guys themselves don't go for that much.
Yeah,
it's just that for some reason it would always escape my memory. So I'll be looking for these in the near future. I think I found a lot on eBay that has these figures, so I might try to get these sometime soon. I don't know. Too many things, and I still got my adulting to do, so I got to do all that shit first before I jump into this. But we will see. What else you got?
I've always wanted a DX Chogokin Macross figure.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I was just talking about the one Macross figure I had as a kid. I had Lisa Hayes. And for some reason, I couldn't remember her name when we were talking, so I had to look it up. And then I saw all the shit that was out there. I'm just like, man, this was such a cool line, and it didn't last that long from what I could find, from the information I found. But
yeah, they're always kind of expensive right out the gate, and then if you don't pre-order them, they always sell out, and then the aftermarket, you may as well just forget it and call it a wrap because they just skyrocket in price. And the one I want is this is a mouthful. It's the F2F Chogokin Macross F YF29 Durandal Valkyrie 30th anniversary colors version.
So why don't you just tell us what color is it, so that we can look up that Valkyrie? It's a Valkyrie.
Yeah, it's the colors. I guess they had a standard one, but then they did one in the yellow and gold of the Crossbones team or whatever.
Yeah.
That Roy and Rick were a part of in the original.
Yeah.
But it's not. But the plane doesn't look like the F-14s or whatever that they were originally modeled on back in the day. It's a different futuristic, more futuristic looking plane. But To me, it's like if they were to do Macross now, like in America or whatever, like the planes would look like this, like in the movie.
They are doing Macross actually, which is crazy. I'm surprised.
I'm not even surprised.
I thought it was dead, but because there is a transforming Valkyrie, it's like a 1/72 scale variable. They call it obviously variable fighter model kit, and that's $75. But the one you're talking about,
yeah, it's not a model kit. I mean, and they're fully transformable, and I mean they all come with like a little scale model person to put in the cockpit and all that. They come with a shit ton of weapons. They always have a extra weapons kit that goes with that particular plane.
Oh, with the heavy gun and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and like missile pods and shit that you put on the legs and the wings and all that. And that one, I was like, yeah, if I were to get one, DX Chogokin, it would be that particular one, just because it reminisces of the original Macross, and I like that. I like the look of that particular aircraft. So
yeah,
it's. I mean, I was just checking it today, and it's well over $300, like close to $350.
Oh, I see it. Holy shit!
Yeah,
it looks like the Wyvern from Ace Combat.
Yeah,
because it's got the reverse wings.
Yeah,
and, that's fucking dope. Jesus.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I know.
Sweet Jesus.
That's right, man. You say Jesus when you look at the plane, and you say Christ when you look at the price.
Pretty much. Holy shit. And then when it transforms into, it looks like a fucking ninja.
Yeah, and that rifle turns into like a fucking rail gun.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, man, that shit is badass. And I mean, and all of them look really, really good. It's just that particular one.
And the missile pods. It's got all the missile pods on his legs and shit. Like,
yeah.
God! And on his shoulders. Shit! That is fucking dope. I'm surprised I've never come across this thing until you said something. Oh, no, I have. I've come across this red one. The red and white one.
Yeah.
From Macross Frontier. Yeah, I definitely have seen that. Well, a good thing is, who is it? Playmates, I think it is. I could be wrong. We covered this in one of our Toy Fair videos. Someone just got the rights to Macross, and they're making figures. I want to say is it? Oh fuck! I can't remember the name. Let me look it up.
I can't either, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they're gonna do a lot of these. Because they showed some of these. What is the company's name?
Yeah, they're even doing some of the tanks and stuff.
Yeah,
like the bipedal tanks.
God, who is the company? Toynami. Toynami got the rights for them, and they're doing like stuff from all eras of Robotech. Or Macross, for those of us who know better. I think one of those was in the background. The one, I mean, it obviously wasn't exactly like what we just saw, but it's close, like it's proportionally it's close, but it is that design. Yeah, here we go. With the back swept wings. They have the traditional Valkyries with all the shit on top of them. Then they have the ones from the original movie, or original series, I mean. Yeah, they got a lot of different types. They got the super deformed ones. They got I think if Toynami does a good job and they're affordable, shit, we might.
Yeah, them joints are gonna sell.
Yeah. I think it'll be even harder to get these because the fan base is international. So the problem that you run into when you try to collect these guys is that it's not just like a US only thing. Like, even G.I. Joe, this is a problem you run into with G.I. Joe, is that G.I. Joe is fairly international. So people, even the Action Force people in the UK are still trying to get figures that are on sale here in the U.S., you know? So, like, you're not just competing with people right around, you know, in your area. You're still competing with folks all over the fucking world to get them. I mean, there's some places where they're just like, fuck them. I can't get them because to ship it, it's going to be ridiculous, you know, even if I find a good price. But, you know, some folks, it's more, I just want it. So I don't care what the price is. You know, I've noticed that, and I've talked to a few people who, when I was complaining about, or I'm reviewing, I'm sorry, actually in the videos I wasn't complaining about something. I was reviewing like Motu figures, and some of them were, you know, I'd mentioned that like when they came out they were this price, but you might have to pay blah, blah, blah for them now. And they'll be like, yeah, well, good luck with that for me because I'm in the UK or I'm in Brazil or something, and, you know, I'm going to have to pay for the shit to be imported. So, and import shipping prices are ridiculous, so. But yeah, man, that is a fucking monster of a pick. Holy shit. And I see the Mospitas. They have, like, new Mospitas. That would be dope.
Yeah, the one that showed up on that Facebook post you sent me, that RealBot did.
Good God.
If that comes out, I'm getting it. I'm getting that shit.
Your wife's she's gonna beat you up. You're gonna be like, it was all worth it. Mission accomplished.
I know.
Like, I will gladly take you. See you getting whomped on and just smiling, like, yep, I got my Mospita. Now, because I know
I will take that beating.
It's gonna cost an arm and a leg. I know that much because the ones that are out now do. But I have seen a handful of them. Like, there's one. I mean, stay away from Kieran Hobby. But there's one that's done by Toynami, actually, and it's been out for a while. I think the driver his name is Scott Bernard. I don't remember a lot of the individual characters from this series, other than Rick Hunter, Roy Fokker, and Lynn Min-May, and Lisa Hayes. That's it. I don't remember shit else. I remember the stuff from like Macross Plus, and I remember the stuff from Macross the movie, but I don't remember any of the things. I was telling my wife that at some point we should go back and rewatch the series because it's not that long. I always over
what, Macross?
Yeah, the original Macross.
Yeah. That's like 50 some episodes.
Yeah,
I watched it I rewatched it last year because I was more familiar with Robotech than I was Macross.
Yeah,
and
same here.
And I wanted, and I know they mix stuff in Robotech with Mospita and the Invid and all that shit.
Yeah.
So I wanted to watch the original Macross and just watch that as its own separate entity.
Yeah. Yup.
It kind of ends on a sour note, you know, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a weird series, but it's a fun one. It's epic.
Yeah.
It's epic shit.
That is when you talk about space opera, you can't bring up that genre and not talk about Macross.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And then watch, you know, there going to be like a bunch of people come on, or one person at least. I don't like the Durandal because his knees are too small, and there is a protrusion that sticks off of the joint that's just not aesthetically pleasing to my eyes. Like, yeah, go back under a rock and stop. Don't say anything.
Well, you should buy it and send it to me if you don't like it. I'll take care of it.
I know, right? Give me your wallet. Damn. The Percival looks ridiculous too. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. There's so many of them that look really damn good.
And it's weird because it's the same.
Can't go wrong.
What's up?
So you almost can't go wrong picking one.
Yeah.
So many good.
God damn. Wow.
But I know that's a rabbit hole I won't even entertain because they're so expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know they're using die-cast metal pieces. Not that means anything, but you know, I mean, because you know the metal is cheap. I don't care what anybody says.
They just don't. People don't know. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean to me it's like they're using that slag metal that comes off when off of like the real metal, and they just take that shit
Yeah,
and like sweep it up and then melt it and mold it into the stuff they put on figure.
Yeah, I agree. God damn, these are some dope looking figures. Yeah, I'm gonna be on the lookout for a cheap one or for a cheaper one relative to the usual price. God, they look so good. It looks like the planes look like when I think of like modernizing GI Joe, and I said like you got to move into the future. They got to have like amped up futuristic stuff. The ones with the wings, like there's one called the Messiah Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And it pretty much is like a souped up version of the original. So it looks kind of like the essence of an F-14 or F-15, but it's clearly not, That's what the Joes need to be flying. Because then when you do the, like in the cartoon, how they had missions when they'd go into space. Like, get the fuck out of here that an F-15 is going to fly into space. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, seriously, get the fuck out of here. Like that. And it's weird because that's never the kind of stuff that people complain about. But if they said that this vehicle, the basis for the design is the F-15 or the F-16, and we took it to a whole different level, then it'd be like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can fly underwater. No one's going to argue with you because you made it to look like something that doesn't exist. It's based off of something, but you took it and you pushed the design far past where it was to begin with. And that would be cool, Shit, even the Roy Fokker version looks dope too. Jeez. Yeah, all right, let's move on to the next one before I sit here and bust in my pants or something. Just hear me convulsing in the background like, I'm going to say I missed out on a lot of the early S.I.C. figures, the Kamen Rider figures. I know there's a couple that I missed out on that aren't really that amazing when you think about it. Like, they look good standing still, but they have no articulation, like Z-Cross. It's funny, whenever I do a search for S.I.C., my my movie realization Kamen Rider 1 and 2 video, that the thumbnail is always one of the first couple that comes up. I am proud of myself. Well, because no one reviews them. It's strange. Like, you try to buy one, and they're like next to impossible to buy. I'm sorry, you try to buy one, and you got to go through buying it from a Japanese seller. It's almost impossible to get them from a U.S. seller. That's what I meant to say. And then you go online to look up reviews. There's written reviews in like Indonesian, Malay, and all this other shit, But like no one here is really writing about them or reviewing them or whatever. You find Killing Monkey, who does like the most insane customs. I mean, it makes me wonder, like, what does he just buy, like, bulk of the movie realization figures and then sculpt over top of them? Like, what the fuck? Because he's made like everything in every style you can imagine. But yeah, like I wanted Z-Cross so much so that I almost would get him and then retool his legs myself so that he could actually move, because that figure's leg articulation is terrible. But he's one of my favorite designs as far as Kamen Riders go. There's figures like the Kamen Rider O's Sagozo. I mean, he's not that old. That's only a few years ago. I want that figure. I'm still going to get it at some point. But I always see him for like a ridiculous price. I mean, there's been a couple times I've seen him drop. But of course, it was after I already spent a grip on something else. So I was like, yep, next time. And then here we are talking about this shit. I want to go back and get I mean, technically they're S.I.C., but they're not. And that's the Garo figures. They're the same sculptors, but it's a different line. And the Makai, Kado. That's from like the worst review I think I've ever seen on YouTube. It's really bad. I mean, and I'm not trying to be elitist or something, but it was just really bad. And it was so bad, it was comical. That's why I keep on referring to it.
Yeah, it was pretty damn bad. bad.
It was funny. It's like if you're reviewing something that you love, you should know what it is. You should know how to pronounce the name. You should be able to tell us, without any type of issues, what it is that you are reviewing, because we don't know. You own it. You gotta assume that. Oh shit, my Fies review pops up here too. But yeah, the Makai Kato figures are pretty dope. I mean, you guys have seen the Garo review that both of us did, and you've seen the detail on that damn figure. It's just nuts. It's like a whole different dimension of detail in comparison to what we're used to with, any American figure. Even NECA, even McFarlane, just, it's on another level.
Yeah.
And the dopest thing about them is that they're reimaginings of existing characters, that when you see if you see the SIC first, you're going to be disappointed when you see what they're supposed to look like. It'll make you wonder, why didn't they just start out with them looking like this,
Yeah, SICs always look like if they did a live action movie, that's what the costume would look like for the movie.
But then you go back and you find out that there are live action movies of these characters and they didn't push the design. So you're like, what the fuck? Like, this would have been the perfect opportunity to take that, this inspiration and make it into, a actual live action suit. But one of the main ones I want is I need to find the bike. It's like a two pack of the first version of Ichigo from the movie, the Kamen Rider the first. Even though the movie was meh, the designs were pretty dope for the good guys and the bad guys, and very S&M. Like, the bad guys were like super, S&M, but the riders looked dope. The recreated bikes looked dope, and they still had little details to let you know like what this is a reimagining of. Like, the Cyclone has the 6 pipes, the tailpipes on the back. It's got the stripes in the right place, and it was dope. And I think there's a version of that set that comes with an Ichigo with the unmasked head or unhelmeted head, and that would be dope to have.
So did they ever do a figure of that bike?
Yeah, the new Cyclone? Oh, yeah.
Of the new one, the new Cyclone?
Yeah, SH Figure Arts did one, and so did SIC.
Oh, wow. I looked and looked and never saw it.
Yeah, because remember, the first Figure Arts figure, the first official Figure Arts is the first. It's Ichigo.
Yeah.
And they did a set where it was him and the bike together. And, I mean, now you can find it, but some people like to overprice, the thing. Like, some people will say, like, in the reviews, they said things like, the bike wasn't that amazing. It didn't really fit perfectly. Most people just completely were like, it's amazing.
Oh, wait, I did see this. I did see the bike, but it doesn't have the, it didn't have the 6 exhaust pipes on it.
Well, the SIC version does. Oh, yeah, because...
Yeah, the Figure Art.
The Figure Arts one is of because you remember, I think in the first movie, and I could be wrong, I want to say in the first movie, he had the one bike, and then in the second movie, he had the straight up crotch rocket that was like a completely rebuilt Cyclone.
Yeah, isn't that the EX?
Yeah.
Or the EX Cyclone?
Let me see. It's the EX Cyclone is the one that he had in the second movie, and then in the first movie he had the, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. I just know that or maybe they're the same bike, but the SIC version is a reimagining of it. And they put the pipes on there. That's what it kind of looks like. That's what it looks like.
I could have sworn in one of the movies it had the pipes on there.
Yeah, me too, but I can't find any images of it from the movie with the 6 pipes. But I do remember it being like straight up crotch rocket, in the films. So maybe that's the case. But yeah, I want to go back and get those. There's been different times.
No,
where...
wait, I found it.
What?
It's
the Cyclone 2? Is that the one that the Nego is driving?
Hold on, I'm waiting for my page. Stupid ass page. Can I send images through Skype?
Yeah. Just put them in where you put the where you would write, type your messages. God, it kind of goes to show you how much I tried to kind of forget about the next and the first and all that, because they kind of did too much. I was like, you did not need to try and make it like all these things all at the same time. It was like a horror story. It was like a love story. It was like it's just too much, man. Like, don't. Why you do this? No, that's the new one. That's the bike for. That's the bike for Kamen Rider 1. Remember the super armored version that I have that I just got a little while ago? That's the new bike. That's a that's a gold wing cruiser. The one I'm talking about is literally like the S.I.C. bike. And when you look up the first S.I.C., Kamen Rider the first S.I.C. or movie realization or whatever, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the bike that you saw in the film Kamen Rider the first, except it has 6 pipes.
Yeah.
And it's very it's like a combination of the two. So I think it's just like with SICs, they always add that extra little piece of design, and I think that's what they did. They just slightly redesigned it. But yeah, that's one of the main ones I want, man. And I want to eventually have all the original 7 or 8 riders, and I don't think all of them have bikes in the SIC form, but that's no problem for me. I know what to use for their bikes, because I know what types of bikes they had. So I'll just find the proper scaled bike and use that for the the actual figure. But what were you saying? I'm sorry. About the...
Oh no, I was just saying. There was I've always wanted that SIC 2-pack with Zolda and Taiga, but
I thought you got it.
And I had it. I had it in my. I still have it in my watch list on Amazon, but I didn't pull the trigger because I kept hearing those horror stories about the QC of those figures, because those are some of the older ones where they had some of those problems, and I was like, man, I don't know if I really want to pull the trigger and buy it, and then I get it, and then I take it out of the package, and shit starts falling apart.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's why I didn't buy it either. But
which sucks, because those designs are dope.
Good God, I thought when I first saw Kamen Rider Ryuki, I had already seen the SICs of Zolda, Knight, Oja, and Taiga. So I thought that's what they look like in the show. And not to say that their designs in the show are bad. They actually look cool in the show. They didn't look as cool as the designs for the SIC. Oh my God. I was like kind of disappointed. I was like, wow, why do they look so different, man? They look kind of cheesy. But yeah, man, SIC is on a different level, man. Completely different level. Like, if you can find the SIC Kamen Rider Shin, that's a dope looking figure. There's also a version of that has 6 arms. He was like a Tamashii Web exclusive, of course. Kamen Rider J and Kamen Rider Zoe, those are pretty dope. Doros is freaking amazing. I don't know, I can keep going, man. Like, they've done multiple versions of like Rider Man and multiple versions of V3, whom I would love to get. I'd love to get a version of V3 that looks like that was in the Next, because I think that look is pretty dope. But they're doing versions to match the newer superhero looking ones. You know what I'm talking about? Like how they did like a renewal of Kamen Rider, Ichigo and Nigo, and they're like all muscular and shit. Well, they did a V3. I'd love to get that. I would love it. So Super One, he's one of the main ones that I wanted, and that figure goes for stupid prices now. And like I didn't pre-order him because I wasn't in the practice of pre-ordering anything when that figure came out, and yeah, I missed out, man. And that's a beautiful looking figure. He's posable because he's newer. He doesn't fall apart like some of the older ones do. It's just such a dope figure, and I totally missed out on him. And if I get the chance, I will pull the trigger on him in a heartbeat. So what else?
Yeah, I've had to come to grips with pre-ordering, because sometimes it's the only way to get it when it blows.
Yeah, I hate that they've turned it into that, because now you've got figure lines that are made for mass retail, and they're telling you to pre-order shit, and it's like your job is to make more than what you think, what might be necessary, just to make sure that you meet the supply and demand, or you meet the demand, Jesus. And they're gonna still take your cookie, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's one of those hustles. It's like, it reminds me of like variant comics and
Lord.
That game that comic books are running now. Well, because in the '90s it was the foil covers and all that, and the first issues, and now it's variants, and you get those people that have that completionist mentality. Like a friend of mine, he's big in the Iron Man. I'm talking like well before the movies.
Yeah.
He's always been a big Iron Man fan, and he's kind of made it his life's mission to collect every Iron Man issue ever.
But
and
they're not all good. Why do you want them?
To complete the collection.
Jesus.
And he's got them all except the first appearance, because that's stupid expensive.
That's like setting yourself up for failure. Because there were a lot of shitty Iron Man books. There's a lot of shitty Iron Man books now, and you're gonna spend money trying to collect all of them. Why? Like, of all the things you could be, everyone to each their own. But just from a logic standpoint, you never get everything unless everything is good. And that's just sound advice. Like, if everything offered is good, then go do the work and get it. You know what I mean? You'll be happy with it in the future. If everything is in drastically varying quality, no, you don't want that. Like, you remember when there was the evil Iron Man from the future with the cogs on his costume and shit? That story was whack. You remember when the heroes...
They've kind of done that storyline, like they do the storyline whenever his suit becomes sentient, somehow it always ends up trying to kill him.
Yeah. Or the one with the... because they did that in this, too. The Heroes Reborn version of Iron Man. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, to each their own. If you got it like that and you can pull that off, then more power to you.
I'm not gonna knock it. I get where he's coming from. And I've even told him myself, like you don't need to do all that. You don't need to buy all of the issues and get the variants. Just get the core stuff if that's what you have to do. But I'm like, he's a grown ass man. I'm gonna let him do whatever he wants. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. Because in the end, that's what you're gonna do anyway. Even if the logic isn't there, you're gonna just do what you want. So more power to you. So what's another one on your side?
Another one is the Riobot Anubis. because I love the Riobot Jehudi from Zone of the Enders.
Yeah.
And had it not been for that price, I would have gotten that the next one. But it was like even more expensive than Jehudi was, and
of course, because he's a bad guy. You know, people
yeah,
in their bad
I know.
guy
And,
fetish.
I mean, granted, he came with more shit because he's got like stuff floating all around him and stuff. But I was not paying what they were asking. Like the only reason why I got Jehudi was because I ended up pre-ordering it from Hobby Search because Hobby Search had a pre-order sale. Like they were selling it less than a hell of a lot less than what Big Bad Toy Store was selling it for. For some reason, that price was astronomical on that site, and I don't even understand why, other than they just felt like charging people more money. So I bought it from Hobby Search, and then I missed because I don't check my email like I should. Hobby Search had a bargain sale, and that figure ended up in their bargain bin for 50% off, and I got to it too late, and it was already sold out. People ran in there and bought it. Like you gotta, like when I say it in some of those videos, you gotta jump on those Hobby Search bargain sales. You really do. Like as soon as the clock strikes 12 Japan time, you guys better be on that site because all the good shit will go quick.
Yeah. It is a damn shame.
I've always dug that design, so.
I got one. It's from the same brand, Riobot Gurren Lagann. I want that shit.
Yep, that was on my list too.
I thought you got it.
No, I got the Soul of Chogokin one.
So what the fuck you need the Riobot for? It's like almost the same thing.
Yeah, but I like the whole thing where the head moves and the eyes move on the chest. I was like, that shit is dope.
And so wow. So you may as well sell the other one and get that.
Oh no! I'm not selling it. I've come to terms with the one I got. I actually like the one I got better because it comes with the
what?
Comes with the full set of manliness.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I want that shit, man. I was stupid when it came out. I just wasn't paying attention, and I was like, oh, I'll find it for. Man, that shit is expensive, and I'm kind of like shooting myself. Like, what the fuck? I should have grabbed it when I had the chance, but I'm still confident that I'll come across it for an okay price somewhere. And now the drill set of manliness costs like $50 by itself. Like, are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here.
And I had bought those on sale too, and that was the only reason why I bought it because it was a pre-order sale.
Yeah, I
think from Hobby Search.
Yep. So yeah, that's one I've always wanted. I want the version. I think he's called. It's not even super. Yeah, it is. No, it's just regular Gurren Lagann because he comes with the. It's pretty much the one I have the Reveltech version of with the backpack and the wings. I want that shit because man, that's my favorite modern, super robot of all time. Period. It just, yeah. I can't say enough. It's just such a good design. The concept is just fucking nuts, like on a different level. It pays homage to like all the old shit that I really like. The old tokusatsu. I might have to settle for Gunbuster because there's no way I'm getting that Riobot anytime soon.
And the Gunbuster is really nice too, so
it's like $45.
You can't even go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. So I might have to do that instead. I always see him for like $40 or $50, and I was wondering for a long time, like, why is he so cheap? It's because most people don't even know who the character is. So.
Yeah, and that anime still trips me out when they go through the transformation sequence
and you see
how clean and how fluid all the animation is.
Yeah.
I mean, that shit looked like it would have driven me insane if I had to draw that.
I know, right?
Shit
like that is why I can't do animation. It's like anymore. It's like I don't have the patience. I would love to sit down and do it, but I think I've gotten so used to working under the stress of having your full-time job, you know what I mean, on top of that kind of stuff. So I just can't can't divorce myself from the way everything works right now. But let me get back into animation full time. Oh yeah, my hair will be gone, but I'll be doing some crazy shit like this. Because this is what inspired me to want to do animation in the first place. Is shows like this, animation like that. But yeah, man, there's a lot. It's
almost like a lost art nowadays.
Oh yeah, because
you have well animated stuff nowadays, but there's just something about some of that old stuff, and
the fact that
I don't know what the new technology is just not getting from the way stuff was animated back in the day. I don't know what it is.
The tech is a tool, and that's the problem, is that people lean on it as a crutch. And what they should be doing is, you should already know how to animate everything by hand. It's just cost effective and sometimes time, a better use of your time to animate the same shit with the computer, because that way you do it once. And then you could always import it and use it, change the angles and blah, 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 and get more usage out of the one model that you've done. The problem is that the folks doing the shit now can't direct, so their visualization skills are just wah, wah. They can only go so far, and then they lean on the CG so much that, like your show, Berserk, people complained about it, and I got to see a couple clips of what they were complaining about, and I'm like, yeah, there was no reason why you needed to do CG models of all these characters just to make the fight scene look bigger, when you could have just hand-drawn all the characters, a bunch of them, and cloned some of them, and tweaked certain things on their costumes, and, composed the shot better. Instead, it just looked like a tech, I don't want to say a tech demo, but it kind of did look like a tech demo saying, this is multiplication of one object on a, I don't know, 2.5D plane. Look at how their movements are covered up by motion blur and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, really? You only get the blur at a certain vantage point, like at a certain distance. You don't get that kind of blur when they're way off in the distance and they're out of focus to begin with. And they were blurring people with the same motion blur that's happening in the foreground, way in the background. I mean, it was just a mess. And, literally a mess. Because I know these days you hear people say shit is awful when it's just kind of not perfect. Or, they'll say something is just terrible, it's a mess, it's the worst thing ever. When it's just, once again, it's just not perfect. There are issues, but it's not the worst thing you've ever seen, Like one guy said, I watched a review for The Dark Tower, and this guy said that The Dark Tower was one of the worst movies he's ever seen. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding? Even if it doesn't follow the books, you could tell by the trailer that from a directorial standpoint, there's at least a handful of really well done shots and scenes in the film. So on a technical standpoint, it can't be the worst film you've ever seen. Not when we got The Room, and we got shit like Cyborg Cop, and, just any of the Grindhouse shit that's out there, like the original, real Grindhouse shit. There's no way...
Oh, any of the Transformer movies.
Oh, God. But even them, they're bad. Their story is terrible, but the technical competency of the crew it's obvious. I mean, this is Spielberg's guys. So most of the time you can see why some people are amazed at this stuff. It's just, why are you still amazed at this stuff now? The first time, yeah, I get it. We would have never been able to say Transformers on screen is going to look like this. The transformation will be this ridiculously complex. So I get that. That amazed people. But then when you see how they utilized all that shit, it's like, womp womp, terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. This movie, it's like they just didn't go with what the books did. Every time they do that with a comic book movie, people tell us we should chill out. They can't do everything on the page, on the screen. But then here they go with your precious Stephen King book. You want to lose your shit. The same rules don't apply for anything that's being translated from page to screen. Yeah, I don't know. But back to the toys, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The toys are dope. I'm trying to think if... Oh, it's your turn, actually. You got any
Oh,
more?
wait, no, I did the Anubis. Oh, and you did the reel about Gurren Lagann. All right. This is kind of weird because this is like one of those series that I have mixed feelings about. Like overall, I don't like it, but there's things in it that I liked, and it's the Line Barrels of Iron.
Oh yeah.
All Mecha 1/100th scale.
Yeah.
Because that version he comes with like the sword to end all swords.
Sword.
So big it has its own little stand for it.
Yeah.
But I really dug the mecha designs in that show for the most part. The main mech and a couple of the other ones. Some of them were kind of too out there. But the show suffered from harem and ecchi bullshit that I don't care to watch in anime. And a reveal near the end of the series that kind of makes you question why the beginning of the first 3/4 of the series even needed to take place. But whatever. Watch that shit and you'll see what I'm talking about, and why you'll see like when you get to near the end it doesn't make sense. But anyway, the figure itself is like really dope. It comes with a bunch of accessories. Comes with the swords that fit on the forearms. He's got this gun. The gun transforms into the ginormous beam sword. There's transformable parts on it, like on the shoulder pads and in the back. There's this tail fin thing that spreads open, and it's the final form. It's part of the final form that the Line Barrel turns into when at the end of the series, when he finally whips out that ginormous sword and starts hacking pieces to pieces. It's like I dig the design more than anything, and it's just a well done, well executed figure. So,
yeah.
When I wanted to buy it, it was already like the prices come down because before it was like well over $1,000, but now it's just like it's still in the triple digits. So I'm not buying it anytime soon.
Isn't it pretty big?
It's like the high triple digits.
He's pretty tall, right? Well, he's like 8 inches, right?
You know what? I don't know. I have to look at a review because I think it's taller than 8 inches.
Well, it says 18.
And somebody has done somebody on YouTube has done the review of that figure.
Yeah, I saw that a long time ago. I can't remember. I just know I found one on Playmoya.com. He's 1/100. I see a 1/100th scale one, and I see one that's 18 centimeters tall. So he's got to be around like 8 inches. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a unique looking mech. I mean, you can tell either he was inspired by Yoji Shinkawa's artwork, his mech designs, or it was designed by him. I don't know, but it looks good. Yeah, we know our shit here on this channel. We know who Shinkawa is. I have one that's weird. Well, it's not weird if you know me, but I grew up on Super Sentai and stuff. So a couple years ago, they did the Legacy Thunder Megazord. I know him as Dai Reno because Dai Ranger was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. I have the original one, but I don't have the sword. I forgot how I got it. I had 2 of them. One was like we found at a thrift store or something when we were in college. And then the other one, I think Josh gave me the more finished one, but it didn't have its sword. So the one that the Legacy version, all the Power Rangers Legacy shit is like stupid expensive. It's just like, why? Why? Especially like when you could go online, like up until that line, only certain things were like ridiculously expensive. But now it's like everything Power Rangers is just expensive. I mean, especially from the previous seasons, from like the Mighty Morphin era. The Black Ranger from the Legacy series, Black Ranger from the 90s movie, he's like $100 by himself. But everyone else is like, somewhat reasonably priced. And I don't understand what happened to make him the most expensive one. It's the only one I don't have because I never saw him in the store. So I don't know what the deal was. Was it like luck of the draw, or is it just because he's wearing black and all these fucks have that fetish with black? He's cool.
Shit, even the figure arts.
Oh, he was
figure
expensive
arts
too?
ones. Well, no, I'm saying the figure arts ones.
But they're figure arts.
Got,
that makes
but I
sense.
mean,
they're figure
but the
arts.
shit is, some of those figures are ridiculous.
I
Like,
agree.
I didn't even know they got that high.
Yeah, I did. Most figure arts get ridiculously expensive. You know, like after their release. It sucks, but it's always been like that for figure arts.
Like, I thought the yellow and the pink Ranger were expensive, and then I saw the black Ranger was. I seen some people posting it for like $200, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Ugh, I don't know what it is with people. They go overboard too much, you know. But yeah, I want that Thunder Megazord. I really like it. It's so expensive now. Yeah, the Black Ranger 5-inch 90s movie version is $169. I'm like,
jeez.
And these were like $8, $10 figures when they dropped like a year or two ago. I'm like, yeah, I give up. That's when I get super pissed off about this stuff, because it's like, it's not that they made less of him than anybody else. It's not that he does anything that the others don't do. It's that somewhere somebody, their Toys R Us stopped getting them, and then that person in that area was like, I'm going to sell mine for $60 because I know no one else can get them. And then other people saw that price and were like, oh, it's eBay, so let me just pay that price, I'm going to probably have to get mine from, like, Japan. And it'll be cheaper in Japan, shipping and everything, than it is.
No, we need to take a trip to Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
To that spot.
Yeah, I know, right? Good God. Yeah, that would be dope. But yeah, that's one of them. That's a simple one. I'm trying to think if there's probably something else. My list isn't that big though, because
mine isn't either.
I got pretty lucky with a lot of stuff. I managed to find a lot of things that I didn't think I would find. Like the FIs, the Super RHF FIs and Autovajin together. That was on my bucket list for years. Then I found it for fucking $30 some odd. I was like, yep, after I waited years for the price to drop. The same thing with the Side Basher and Kamen Rider Kaiser. I waited years for that shit to drop, and then I never found it at a decent price, and then I just happened to look, and it dropped, and I was like, yep, picking it up. I think that one was like maybe 40 or 30 as well. There's another one. The Garo figure, the 10th anniversary one. I didn't know they were going to do a 10th anniversary figure. So when it popped up and it was like regular price, I'm like, yoink!
Hell, we got it for less than regular price because it was like $50-something bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Or $50 or $60-something.
True.
And for some reason, Nippon had a sale, a pre-order sale.
Yep. Forgot about that. Yeah, fucking, I always wanted a John Matrix action figure, and they made one, so I got it. Because Commando is amazing.
That fucking Dave.
John Matrix. Human killing machine, John Matrix. That's what it says in the trailer. I'm like, yep, I'm happy I got that. What else?
Oh, there's so many third-party Transformer figures I'd wanted. I didn't even put it on the list because this video would be like over an hour long.
It's going to be over an hour long. I don't mind.
Well, I mean, yeah, it'd be even longer than this. It'd be an hour just for those figures, man. There's too many that I would have loved to have added to my collection.
Throw some up, so I can look them up, because I'm gonna put pictures of like all the stuff that we said.
Well, the Perfect Effect, Leonidas.
Yeah,
I wanted.
Holy shit, yeah. I wanted that
too.
too.
They're re-releasing it, but it's slightly different, and it comes with this big glowing red Buster Sword.
Jesus.
But I mean, there's just other things I want. I'm not gonna I'm kind of trying to not screw with Transformers anymore as much as I want to.
Yeah.
Mastermind Creations has like 3 or 4 figures I want. They did Hot Rod.
Calidus
from the IDWs. Yeah, Paladin. They did their version of Whirl, which looked really good. I'm still gonna get that one. I'm gonna fucking get it at some point. They're doing Drift, and that shit looks dope too. Only transforms into a Cybertronian vehicle because that one's also based off of IDW.
Jeez, their world looks dope.
I know.
Wow. He was one of the wreckers, right?
Yeah. And he's kind of crazy yet too.
I mean, it fits. It fits. And who was the other?
like it's funny because in one of the books, Cyclonus walks in on him, and he walks into like this cave, and Whirl is in the cave with a bunch of those clones of Scourge, and he's throwing gasoline on them because he's about to light them all on fire.
Wow.
And he's like talking to himself the whole time.
That's jacked up.
I know.
It makes sense though. I mean, like they are kind of those kind of soldiers. So it fits.
Yeah.
You know?
He was always off.
Who was the other person you said? You said, oh, Drift.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Evangelist actually did he reviewed
it.
Pre-review of the prototype that they sent him.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I like the bot mode better, but it's a complex looking ass bot mode. Jesus. Like his legs, there's so much shit going on his big legs. Like, God. I wonder if he can do the splits. No problem.
I still have. I still need to get. I still need to get the Fans Project version of Swoop and Grimlock because I want that. I want that Game of Thrones Grimlock where he's got the swords on the throne and he comes with the crown and shit.
Who did that one?
Fans Project.
That's gonna
cost you. He's got these 2 giant miniguns that he also uses, and he comes with each one of those figures comes with like a little Diaclone character that transforms into a weapon. His comes with 2 because they both transform into like this hammer with spikes on it that he just swings around.
Wow. Yeah, this is a Lost Exo Realm Severo.
Yeah.
Jesus, with that crown and stuff? Like, what the fuck? Jeez.
Oh, and there's I forgot what company did it, but they did Thunderwing, the big Thunderwing from the comics, and right now it's on sale for like $200, but I ain't got the money for that right now. I can't do that.
Thunderwing.
I can't remember what they were calling it, but that was his name in the comics.
Oh, Garatron.
Yeah.
That's the company, and he's called Thunderstorm. Yeah, I remember seeing pictures of this a long time ago, like prototype pictures. You and I were looking for something else. Yeah, I found the protos, yeah. You and I were looking for, I think we were looking for Optimus Prime trailers, and we came across this. And it showed like the wings can fold up in front of his chest, and he becomes like an even bigger Omega Supreme looking thing.
Yeah. The thrusters become arms.
Yeah.
Because I remember a long time ago somebody made a custom of that because I mean nobody knew anybody was ever going to actually do that figure, and the one that Hasbro put out, it's kind of like what he would look like before that, before he became what he became, because they try to say it's kind of like a precursor to the Pretenders, at least the way they explained it in the books.
He looks like
because
one of the
that was still.
He's painted up like one.
Do what?
I said he's painted up like one of the Pretenders.
Yeah.
I always dug them because I used them as monsters for my Kamen Riders to fight. That's how I always played with them, man. Like I would always, because we played too hard with the actual robots that are inside. So I had, I still have Iguanus and Submarauder's shell. I just don't have their Joyride, and I can't remember what the motorcycle that was inside of Iguanus was called. But we played with them so hard, they broke, and then we just were like, fuck it, now we got monsters for our people to fight. They broke so many of our toys. So many action figures fell getting punched by those guys. It's ridiculous. I remember one time my brother was making Superman fight them, and Iguanus punched his Superman square in the chest. It was the old Toy Biz one, and that motherfucker shattered. It was hilarious. It was just like crack, legs and arms and shit, and a little magnet that went flying. I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous. Yeah, those were the days. It was a simpler time. But,
I know the time when you used to take your Ninja Turtles and you take your sister's Barbies and you take baby powder and you put them in little baggies like they were selling drugs, and the Ninja Turtles had to like help save them and shit.
We did that shit. We did it with the cops. Like, we would have like the Barbies having like a drug deal with like some villain, one of the crooks. I mean, back then all we had was like, I think I had Nightmare, and my brother had Rock Crusher. So we'd have it where they were like dealing shit, and we put them in the little bags that came with my mom and dad's the screws. You know, there was those sets to fix your glasses, and the little screws would be in a little Ziploc bag. So we'd put the baby powder in there, and then like, stack up a couple of them on a table and pretend like it was some, super secret drug deal or something. And when the cops came after everything was done, we'd always make one cop have the knife, because they would always stab it and then taste it and be like, yep, that's the stuff. We always did that. It just goes to show you, like, this is what we were watching when we were kids. We used to watch, like, police dramas and shit, like action movies with Charles Bronson and fucking Dolph Lundgren and Brian Bosworth and stuff. Like, and we probably shouldn't have been watching that shit when we were that young, but at least we knew what cocaine was, so if we happened to wander in on a drug deal, we'd be like, yeah, we're going to go the other way.
Yeah, and, I'm sure they done that on episodes of Miami Vice.
Yeah, we used to watch that too, yeah. Yep. Yeah, man.
I'll fully admit, though, I was too young to be watching RoboCop when I saw it.
Oh, same here. That's why when we played with cops, we did the whole thing with the big old blotches of blood on them when people get shot and stuff. Because, when I saw that, that changed my whole perspective on, like, gun violence in movies. Like, you get shot, there should be chunks of meat flying off. Because, especially the guns. All the guns sounded like cannons in that damn show. It was nuts. But, man.
Especially Ed 209.
I know, right?
Jesus.
Shit was so loud.
When that guy got turned into a hamburger. When he malfunctioned. Like, my parents threw me and my little sister right out of the living room, like, as soon as that happened.
I was lucky because my parents went to Atlantic City for their anniversary, and I was home with my older sister, and she was on the phone doing something, so we just went in the living room, turned on the TV, and what was on? RoboCop. And we just sat there and watched, and we're like kind of cowering when people are getting shot, but we're like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, the fact that the robot was growling and shit, and then when he fell down the steps, he was crying. Like, it just, I don't know, the movie had so much imagination to it. The parts that freaked me out the most were the parts when they showed how the cybernetics were being added to people. They're, like, chopping open their heads and pulling out the brain and the spine and shit. I was just like, ugh.
Oh, in RoboCop 2?
Yeah, and in part 1, too. They showed you, like...
Oh, my God.
When the dude was like... He walked out and just was like, ah! I just pulled off his head.
He pulled his head off. He pulled the helmet off. It was just a bloody skull. He just screams and falls over. Oh, my God. That cracked up every time.
It still gets
every time. They had all those failed RoboCop 2 prototypes before they finally got it right with Clarence Bardigan. Said, oh my God, that shit was so funny.
Yeah. Yep. I love that those movies, both of them. Even people try to take them apart, and I'm just like, you can keep trying. It's still, for whatever reason, it works, and the shit's funny. The fucking can you fly, Bobby? Like all those lines.
I mean, especially when a lot of the messages are still.
Oh, you're breaking up. Say that again.
I was saying it doesn't even make sense to try when a lot of the messages that they were talking about in those movies are still relevant today.
Exactly.
Like the overconsumption and wasting of resources,
or just the fact that like it got the crime, the way they're handling crime and trying to privatize the police force. It kind of spread the police force so thin. They were already spread thin. That you had to outsource for cops because the situation in Detroit was so bad. And now Detroit has been having all kinds of issues. You know what I mean? Like, over the years, it hasn't really changed that. I mean, I won't say it's like, well, they still do have a pretty high, the level of crime is pretty high still over there. So, yeah, it's still relevant, you know? So it's just,
and the poverty is super high.
Yeah, the poverty level is pretty high as well. So, yeah, it's just like, shit's still relevant, you know? But, you know, there's always going to be people that are going to try to find their way to disprove random shit for the sake of disproving random shit, so. But, yeah, man, I'm with you on a lot of these Transformers. I still want to get the Toy World Orion. At some point, I'm going to get one. I just don't want the one that came in the 2-pack with the weird colors and fuck that shit. Where, you know what I'm talking about? Where Megatron has like a black helmet and Prime is like real bright colors and the gun is blue and nah, I'm good. I'm super good.
Wait, which 2-pack was that?
Like a year ago or so, they released this 2-pack where it's like the original comic colors. So they both are colored the way that they were in like one of the early, it might have been the first appearance of both of them in the Marvel Comics. And I do not like it. I do not approve of that message. So I was like, nope, I'm not getting that one. But if I could get the original, Orion, and then for some reason I like Apollyon. I just don't plan on, Hegemon. I just don't plan on transforming him. So I don't even...
You'll leave him in the gun?
No, I'm going to leave him as a robot, and I'm never going to transform him into a robot, because I don't really care about, or even Despotron from Make Toys. I always say Make Toys. Make Toys. I would get that, and I don't plan on transforming him into a gun. I'll just use the tiny little gun that came with my Masterpiece Prime.
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
Oh, I would love to get that Make Toys, their version of Metroplex.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Shit. Shit.
I think they did a version of Scorponok that is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I would love to do that too. It's just, nah, man.
Yeah.
There's a point where it's just absurd, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
I know, my wallet would flatline.
Man, my wife would shin
with
show
like
her
you see it flipping around on the ground and foaming, and then it would just go limp and die.
Man, my wife would fucking shin Shoryuken my ass, like, for some shit like that. And you would hear it from your house, you'd hear it. Like, ooh, oh, ooh, oh. Yeah, there's no way. There's just no way. It's just some of this shit is just expensive enough. Actually, I changed my mind. I don't like Hegemon. I forgot what he looked like. It's the Despotron. Hegemon's legs look fucking weird.
Yeah.
They look weird.
Yeah, and when you transform into the gun, the handle's like way too fat.
Yeah. But like, either way, I would keep him in robot mode because the idea is that he turns into a tinier gun. So I don't need to, transform him when I have the tiny gun. It's die cast and everything. Like, I'm good. I know.
I'm not gonna lie, Hasbro did do the damn thing with their
the
new Megatron.
Oh, the new one?
With the Masterpiece.
Oh, yeah, that did look good.
Yeah.
I did want that one. I saw that a while back.
That price just didn't look good.
Yeah, man. With Transformers, they kind of feel like a no-go zone for me. I have 2 third-party figures, and they're both Optimus Prime. I have the Make Toys Battle Tanker, and then I have the Kubian Bao downsized Voyager Prime. Yeah. I just need the fucking trailer for him. I always forget where we saw the trailer at, so I'm gonna have to bug you for that if you remember.
It was either TF Source or maybe Big Bad Toy Store.
I'll have to go back and check it out. Downsized MP10.
I'm surprised that company just didn't make the trailer.
I know, right?
At some point.
I don't understand either.
Or have it come together. Sell them separately and have one where they're sold together.
That would make sense.
Because that's what Mastermind Creations did with that Nova Prime, or Seraphicus Promenamenom, or whatever the fuck they're called.
Promenamenom.
Fucking pretentious ass name.
Yeah, Seraphicus Promenon. Yeah, that's funny. Promenamenom. From the timid time with the river time. I know, right? Sign your pity on the running kind. Like, yeah, man. It's funny because they do it. They do it to avoid people even putting the 2 things together. But
yeah,
it's like, come on, who at this point doesn't know what these are supposed to be?
Yeah, man.
There's a conversion kit on Shapeways so that you can use one of the other trailers. What trailer? Second Chance SCO1 trailer. Why do they call it the Second Chance?
Because it's not on the first one.
I know, right?
Chance not to get it.
It's the only chance you got. It's like they're fucking with people.
Well, I mean, Hasbro kind of did when they did the MP1 and then came out with the trailer later, and it was like as much or if not more than the MP1 was.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is getting that now?
Yeah.
I mean, people did, but I didn't. I wasn't doing that.
I agree. Yeah, that's why, like I said, Transformers is a no-go zone for me. I don't mess with it. What the hell is this? I'm getting besides myself here. I'm sorry. I'm like way into something else. But yeah, I was looking at Transformer stuff because you mentioned it, so my bad. I think that's about it, though.
Yeah.
That's honestly all I got. My list was, like I said, it was small because over the years I've been fortunate. It's one of the things that, you got to look at if you're collecting. You can't just keep, I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want. But for me, it doesn't seem to make sense to just keep buying shit if you have a list of things you actually want to get, Like, we've been fortunate to get the stuff we want so that we can actually stop and be like, let me take all this in now for a while, and then maybe I can start back and get all the crazy shit, Maybe down the road I'll get the Oraku Saki. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he's called, Oraku Saki. The what is that company called? First Goken Shredder. You remember that?
Is that the one where they did the dope ass Krang?
Yeah. They did a Shredder as well with metal.
Yeah.
Blades everywhere. I love that figure. I would get it in a heartbeat. But the price don't look like I'm going to get it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I know, man.
So that might be something I'll just have to wait, bite the bullet, and then put the money in and get it.
Yeah, because he comes with, like, all the turtle weapons, too, in a weapons rack.
Yeah, and they're, like, super futuristic looking. Like,
yeah.
Like, he would use them to fight the turtles, you know, and maybe when the turtles beat him, they would take those weapons and get an upgrade, you know. I also want to get. There's some 12-inch figures that I like, but I don't collect 12-inch figures anymore, just because it doesn't make sense and it would take up too much space in my man cave. So, but they did some 12-inch turtles that are like, they're kind of comic accurate. They're along the lines of the comics, and they look so good. It's ridiculous. Faces look good. The accessories are really dope. They come with die-cast weapons. Well, the ones that use metal weapons. They're just well done, but I'm not jumping into that anytime soon.
God, I wish Figure Arts would do turtle figures that look like Santa Luco's art.
Oh my God.
That'd be an instant buy.
Oh my God. Yeah, my wife would just have to be mad at me for that. For real. I'd be like, I love you, babe, but I had to do this. Like, I had no choice. I had to do this. You don't understand. Yeah, I'd love to. I would definitely get that in a heartbeat. Yeah, because Santa Luco easily is probably the best Ninja Turtle artist we've had in years. I think in some ways he's even better than Eastman and Laird.
Some ways.
and almost, well, you have to give him props. Like, when you see what Laird would do by himself,
yeah,
Peter Laird, when he would do those cool, like, where they're big and they kind of look like the movie style. I mean, yeah, the movie.
Yeah, I always liked him better than Eastman.
Eastman is a little on the goofier side and kind of dirty. His art is real dirty. Laird would do the more, like, what you think of when you think of a Ninja Turtle, you know?
Yeah.
Santa Luco, though, he makes them look like teenagers, and then he makes them look like badasses on top of it, and he draws action so well. It's just, like, a whole nother thing. I'm surprised, like, the way that the third parties find a style of Transformers, like, you know, either, what's the dude's name? Either Alex Mayleave or Don Fig or any of the Dreamwave guys, and they home in on that, and then they make figures based on that shit. I'm surprised no one's doing that with other stuff, you know? Like, fucking Hasbro just figured out that people wanted a Marvel Legends Jim Lee Cyclops, but we've been saying it forever.
Now they need to do Storm. I need a Jim Lee Storm.
Yeah. I mean, unless you go back and get the Toy Biz Jim Lee style Storm.
Do what?
Get the Toy Biz Jim Lee Storm.
I mean, I have that one, but I want one with the updated head and body.
Yeah, thicker body and stuff. That head, but her head sculpt on that other one is dope. I think they did a good job with that one. But yeah, I'm with you. I want one with the thicker body, the woman body, because some of those other ones have these weird anorexic supermodel bodies, and it's just not. Nope, it's not representative of.
Yeah, like the Jean Grey they did.
Oh my God,
90s Jean Grey.
She needed a hot beef injection. She was just so skinny and just ugh. But yeah, man, that would be dope. I wish more companies would look at the different artists out there, and then, excuse me, base their figures.
DC kind of did it when they were doing the Capullo style characters, the Batman characters.
Yeah, they have a whole line where they do different people's styles, but I mean, more companies need to do that, especially when it comes to comics, because you have so many artists doing their version of, you know, whatever the comic is, and that's why they were hired. It was to do their version of, you know. So it would be dope if they would do that, you know, because it'd make all the sense in the world. You would cater to different fan bases. That way, it would really, because, you know, some people just buy everything because there's kind of like a generic overall style to some lines. But, like, if you start making figures that are in the style of certain artists, then everybody, you may not like a character unless it's drawn by a certain artist. Like, I didn't like Ghost Rider unless Mark Texiero was drawing it. I mean, and I have a lot of Ghost Rider books. I have old ones, too. Between him and Javier Salteras, I really didn't like the other Ghost Rider artists. But imagine if they made a figure, which is kind of what the Toy Biz one looks like. if that looked like the you know, Mark Tex's artwork or something. Like that'd be dope because, you know, that's when I was reading the book. That's what I was looking for. And you know, with Transformers, it makes a big difference because with Transformers, certain guys are more hardcore with the details, and you know, some guys are more general with the details. So I think it would be dope if they did that across the board.
Oh yeah, totally.
But and they need to do it with a lot of anime figures. I would love for them to do that shit. Because there's a lot of anime figures that deserve that kind of attention and don't get it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for us. That is our list of figures that got away from us. There's probably some other ones, and we could go into more detail if you want in the comments. But for now, that's what we came up with for this, and maybe we'll do another one if we think up more, because I'm sure others will pop up, and we'll be like, "Fuck, why didn't we put that in this video?" So
Yeah.
you know, we could do another one down the road. But yeah, feel free to chime in. Let us know which ones you missed out on, or if you vibe with us on any of the ones that we pointed out. But yeah, that's it for us. You guys have been great. Peace outside.
Peace.